Cinema Worms.
Discussing everything from Grima Wormtongue to the Shy Halib.
I'm Sabib.
And I'm Linz.
And this is Cinema Worms Podcast. This episode is part of our Tyrannosaurus Recs series, a fresh take on films from the past. So for my very first Tyrannosaurus Rex, this is Zabib, by the way, I'll be talking about 2024's divisive film, Civil War. I think it's more timely than ever, and gosh darn, what a difference a year makes on how we reflect on this film. So this is an Alex Garland film. He wrote and directed it. It's a dystopian action thriller, and it basically follows a civil war in some near future United States, where you have this authoritarian federal government that's taken over, several secessionist movements trying to topple the president, and we're following these war journalists as they try to catch the scoop of maybe interviewing the president, reaching Washington before the secessionist movements get there and topple him. So we have Lee Smith, a war photojournalist who is renowned in her field, played by Kirsten Dunst. We have another colleague of hers, a journalist, played by Wagner Mora, Joel. We have this young, sprightly photojournalist who wants to follow in Lee Smith's footsteps, Jessie, played by Kaylee Spaney. You may know her from Priscilla. And we have veteran actor Stephen McKinley Henderson playing Sammy, this veteran journalist for the New York Times, where the New York Times is basically this shredded institution, which is funny given how many people are very upset with New York Times nowadays. So this is a fascinating film, and it's so polarizing that, you talk with one person who saw it who has a completely different perspective than another. And I felt lots of mixed feelings about this film. I have not rewatched it since, but I still think about it a lot. Alex Garland is an amazing filmmaker. He's not, in my memory, made a bad film. From the writing to the cinematography, he works with an excellent cinematographer, Rob Hardy, to the pacing, the tension, just the vividness of the film. It keeps your heart in your throat. You're tense throughout. And it's also a deeply upsetting and emotionally affecting film. And it's this really interesting, disturbing juxtaposition of perceived American exceptionalism and these scenes of warfare in America, which, that's not supposed to happen, but it is, right? In America, we're used to terror and mass shootings, but this idea of America embroiled in warfare feels completely unnerving to the viewer. And it's a real commentary on lots of different things: morality, the morality of war photography and embedding. You have commentary on dehumanization in war. And really, clearly what Alex Garland is most interested in is talking about the self-destructiveness of polarization and tribalism. So that's his absolute mission with this film. And it creates, it's a very straightforward idea that you have America torn apart by this ruthless, insane, destructive, dehumanizing war. But there's a lot that Garland is either choosing not to do that may be infuriating for viewers, and is also maybe failing to do. I think it's a mix of both. I think he, in a lot of ways, captures the absolute hell of war and its deep inhumanity, and witnessing basically this apocalypse of humanity, of decency, of safety. And I think he captures that really well. He also captures that quite well in his excellent 2025 film Warfare. But also, there's a certain smugness in his take on polarization where he's so interested in deconstructing and shoving in our face the evils of polarization that it's almost like he forgets the bad stuff that leads people to perhaps want to resist, to feel others are oppressing them. Okay, tribalism, bad. But what are the actual issues behind it? What are the actual morals that we're fighting for? You don't want to confuse the immorality of polarization with the immorality of all kinds of injustice and societal problems. Those seem to completely not factor in. Or maybe he's failing also to capture the nuances of what a civil war would look like in America specifically, with its history of deeply embedded racism. And, not capturing the fact that tribalism, okay, exists with the oppressors and the oppressed, but there are people with actual power, right? Just the idea that it's just the government, this like authoritarian government and a third term president versus rebels is all you need to like. And the rebels are just people who want to destroy each other. The government just wants to oppress. But there are real issues, right? Real long-standing societal issues, privileged classes, white supremacy, all these things matter. So like the fact that he has this secessionist movement that teams up California and Texas makes no sense. And it's almost like it's a joke to throw in the viewer's face or something contrarian to shove in our face, which is a lot of what the film is doing. So it's both what makes the film infuriating and what also makes me fascinated in the film. I think Garland, when I was listening to him in this long interview, talk about the film, I found myself really annoyed and also really interested in how much he's bringing up in the viewer. People are mad or they're really upset. They're really disturbed. He's doing something interesting, even if sometimes it's unintentional or sort of does not work. He's stripping away moral pretenses and getting at the heart of the brutality of war and how much we can dehumanize the other, the oppressors as well as the oppressed. So I think it's really a fascinating film for what it's provoked in us, and the fact that we almost want to demand it to make its morality clear. But then it also cosplays at war in a way that feels perhaps inauthentic. But really, Garland finally describes it as a companion piece to men, which I think is fascinating. He is very interested in striking at awful human tendencies and showing them in all their brutality. Intro blooper. This review is part of our Tyrannosaurus